was in the Army for 11 years, 4 months, 4 days. 12 years, almost. I never know how to describe war to people who haven't seen it or witnessed it. When you're a newly minted infantryman who has never been to war yet, knowing that you joined and trained hard to be a warfighter, to finally go to war, it's a struggle, obviously. It's war and combat, but it's fun until it isn't. And so for most of my time in, I was just a specialist, specialist in blow, a grunt, line level, and then at the very end I was a team leader, and I retired as an E5 sergeant. So there was a time that I've been close to pulling the trigger on myself before, and though truly the one thing that stopped me from doing that was my son. And knowing how I felt when I started thinking about my son, knowing that I couldn't pull the trigger, I wanted to make sure that we got that to other people who maybe don't think about that. That's not the thing that's going through their head. They want the pain to end. And if I can't teach people to think ahead, then what's the next best thing? This shit needs to stop. And we really need to start doing something. Fucking anything. Because whatever we were doing isn't working. It's getting worse. So we had partnered with the OVERWATCH project and attended a suicide prevention summit. And from that, it just got me to thinking about how we could implement this. We started a program called Safeguard that puts the image of a loved one or anything that somebody holds dear right onto the side of whatever tool that they could possibly use to commit suicide. There is always a moment of do or die. Either pull the trigger or don't. And what stops that moment is whatever's going through their mind. I know for sure that I would never have the strength to leave my son after literally looking him in the eye. The focus on the tool is something that we have in common with the OVERWATCH project. What most other organization institutions that I've seen are focusing on is on the root cause, which is absolutely noble, but the root cause is mental health. But that's not what Safeguard is. Safeguard is focusing on the tool that's being used. We focus on making the connection, bridging that gap between the tool and the mind. If everything else has failed, you've messaged your friends, you've called them and nobody's answering, everybody's too busy to go out drinking tonight or just coming over and talking, you've exhausted all of your resources that you have to get help and to have a conversation with somebody, the last thing you have is your firearm. If you have a gun lock on there, that's one defense. If you have the ammo separated from the gun, that's the second defense. If it's locked in a safe, that's the third one. So let's put the picture on there, and maybe they'll have that 1 or 2 seconds of pause that you actually reevaluate and say, this is not for me. I can't do this right now. Having a conversation with somebody who I think is imminent is one of the easiest things to do because like I said, we have that connection already. Being able to have that connection means that I can be frank. I can tell you, I've had conversations in the past where I tell them, you're a fucking asshole. I still love you, we're brothers, but if you're acting like an asshole, I'm going to tell you you're acting like an asshole. That level of frankness carries over to a situation like this. If somebody is imminent, I can go up to them and say, are you thinking of suicide right now? Yes. How about you bring your gun over to my house? How about I hold on to it? How about you take out the firing pin? I'll just take the firing pin. Whatever the case is, we can have these conversations because we've already built that connection. So how it's going to work going forward with any veteran or first responder who comes to us, if they would like us to hold on to that for whatever reason, either they're not ready to take it back or whatever reason, we will hold on to that until such a time that they tell us that they are ready. There's no time limit to that. Whenever they're ready, they'll know, they'll tell us, they'll get it back. Make that connection with them. Make them know that they're not alone. Most importantly, know that they're not fighting alone. And then you can help, and they will be much more willing to do whatever needs to be done. And if that means that you're holding onto the weapons for a couple weeks, or even just a couple days, then that's what happens. I have my inner circle that I know they have my trust, I have their trust. If it came down to it, I could turn my weapon over to them and know there's not going to be a fallout. I would like to utilize that same concept for Safeguard so that anybody who comes into this and goes through this program who doesn't have that, they will have enough trust and faith in us to allow us to take that if they need to without fear of there being fallout from that. How we're unique is we are trying to stop veteran suicide with an emotional connection with the heart. Everything that has happened from ever at this point has shaped every decision I've made, every initiative that I've been a part of, the stuff that I'm doing now, with combat vets, with the CVMA, with the CVMA and with Safeguard. I don't know if I would have had the drive to do that if I didn't have the experiences that I had. It's been a rocky road, but it's still this side of the dirt.